Take a close look at the daily reality of the average mid-market enterprise owner. Their inbox is flooded with tiny staff clarifications, and clients bypass the team to call them directly. Because workflows lack firm documentation, procedural fixes and pricing decisions are executed emotionally, right on the spot. This creates a strange paradox. Since every operational detail has to pass directly through the owner's mouth, they feel vital. But beneath that sense of importance is deep distraction and quiet resentment. This is a state of operational failure known as the broken radio syndrome. The person sitting in the boss's chair is trapped replaying the exact same tracks and instructions all day long. Complexity persists because the owner misinterprets repetition as a form of team loyalty. In reality, every re-explanation is a systemic failure masquerading as helpfulness. To break out of this loop, we have to look at business through the lens of a war room. In military strategy, command is treated as a finite, non-renewable resource. This brings us to a strict operational doctrine. A sovereign owner never gives the same order twice. The rule enforces immediate escalation. If you state an instruction to your team a second time, it must instantly be converted into a written script. If that exact same issue forces you to state it a third time, that script must be engineered into an automated system or permanently recorded in a company codex. Violating these escalations carries a specific weight. Continuing to repeat an instruction beyond 3 times ceases to be leadership. It becomes an act of self-betrayal. Every repeated explanation consumes a unit of strategic power. That is energy and attention that should have been spent on high-level war room thinking, instead of squandered on frontline firefighting. We can examine this doctrine through 4 distinct archetypal lenses, starting with the general. On a battlefield, logistics and standing orders secure victory, not individual heroics. The general applies a strict mechanical filter to every proposed business solution, called the triple S test. First, the solution must be sovereign. It has to explicitly return time to the owner. Second, it must be systemic. The fix has to function entirely without the owner's voice or physical presence. Finally, it must be scalable. The process must survive a massive increase in volume without requiring additional heroics from leadership. Approving any quick fix that fails this 3-part gate guarantees the owner will be forced to spend their voice solving the exact same pain point next month. If we shift perspectives to the archetype of the polymath, the business transforms from a battlefield into a school. The team members are students, and the owner is the faculty. Every time an owner answers a team math operates under a clear mandate. Every lecture must be recorded, the core concept formally named, and the resulting assets stored in the company codex. What begins as a chaotic daily chat log of questions is systematically extracted and converted into a permanent library of training assets. Failing to record and canonize your own explanations is a profound disrespect to your teaching craft. It renders your hard-won knowledge entirely disposable. But to implement this, we must look through the lens of the protagonist and confront the psychological barrier keeping the owner in the broken radio loop. Implementation is often blocked by a shadow identity known as the savior owner. This shadow operates on a specific internal narrative, the false belief that if they do not personally step into every crisis, the entire business will collapse. There is a powerful, subconscious payoff to this behavior. By diving into the weeds, the owner gets to feel noble, busy, and entirely irreplaceable to their team. The cost of that payoff is devastating. By constantly rescuing the operation, the owner refuses to grow, remaining a reactive, minor character in their company's daily drama. Refusing to write a system so you can personally rescue a situation is an act of emotional clinging. It prevents you from becoming the true author of your own empire. The final lens belongs to the mystic, demanding we take a view from above regarding our strictly finite human lifespan. In the mystic empire, standard operating procedures function as liturgy, the daily rituals that maintain the sanctity of the operation. The mystic poses a simple question. Does it make logical sense that a single finite human life is being spent typing the exact same 20 instructions into a chat app? It is the stark contrast between the grand vision of building an empire and the trivial reality of a high priest spending all day explaining to the staff where to put the slippers. Codifying these instructions is the final act of stewardship over your own attention. It is how the soul chooses to spend its finite presence in this lifetime. The map, the codex, the mirror, and the candle all point toward the exact same required behavioral shift. That shift begins with a primary mechanism for change, the iron law scan. Write down the top 10 instructions you have repeated in the last 30 days and note exactly who asked for them. Then map an exact asset type, a screen recording, a written checklist, or a standing order that will permanently replace your voice for each of those 10 items. This audit forces a change in perspective. You stop diagnosing team incompetence and start measuring your own disobedience to your future sovereign self. The ultimate promise of this blueprint is literal. We are going to turn your mouth into a permanent, scalable library. It rests entirely on this doctrine. If you say it twice, it must become a system. Look at your chat logs. Which repeated instruction are you going to canonize into your codex today? For those ready to stop repeating themselves, join us in the Sovereign Lounge. True sovereignty is found only when you step out of the daily noise and finally take your seat in silent command.